to be here for the National Science Week. And I think, very importantly, to be here for this Meraka event. Why do I say that? Well, I was fortunate enough to be here at the launching of Meraka with the then Minister of Communications. And it's just grown and grown and grown. And I want to tell you that every time I come to Meraka, in fact, almost everything that the CSIR is doing, I am inspired anew. I've been in this sort of portfolio for almost 10 years now. And do I feel stale? Do I wake up in the morning and think, gee, I need a new challenge? Never. And especially when I come to events like this, I get inspired anew. The Deputy Minister and I are in discussion about what areas. You see, journalists are writing. What are they talking about? No, clearly we're in discussion about sharing of responsibility and about areas that the Deputy Minister will be not only taking responsibility for, but driving. And why I say that, when I was appointed as Deputy Minister, and this is what developed strength. At the time, I had very little knowledge of the many things done by the Department of Science and Technology with its various entities. And I certainly developed an interest and a passion for the many things. But I came in with my own passions, which was not a bad thing. So, for example, I had an intense interest in paleontology. I mean, I loved it. And so it became an area that I focused on, and that was not a bad thing. Deputy Minister,
I'm still Mike.
Are you still Mike?
Yes.
Oh, that's great. He comes in with his own areas of strength, areas of knowledge, and he will develop passions in a number of areas and already has some passions. And I think that's very important. So we have agreed that we're going to give it a couple of weeks more for him to really be exposed to the many, many things supported by the Department of Science and Technology, done by various entities. And then arising out of that, we're going to have this conversation about which are the areas that he's going to take on and he's going to drive. But I think very importantly, my little address to you is not about Mike. It's about Meraka. But very importantly, Deputy Minister Masuka has a reality. It's not been, he's demonstrated that it's not been a disadvantage, but it's a reality, and that he is partially sighted. And what has assisted him throughout his life, as many millions of people are assisted with, is technology. Even this thing that I'm wearing here, I don't see you too well when I'm not wearing it. This is a technological advance. I see the CEO of Sansa also wears these things. But the fact of the matter is that when he went to school addressing special needs, he learned to read with Braille. What he reported back to when he visited his school 30 years later is that we aren't making sufficient advances in addressing special needs at school level. Now, I believe that there's very, very good work being done in Meraka with regard to special needs. But I also think, and I'm warning you at Meraka, he's going to be pushing this area, inevitably, and that's good. One of our big challenges, Dr. Sibisi, obviously, has been presented here, is this bridging this digital divide and getting to the point of digital advantage rather than digital disadvantage. And let me just admit up front that, I don't know if this is the politically correct word to use, but I'm a bit digitally dumb. Or, okay, digitally disadvantaged, okay. But nonetheless, I'm advancing slowly, even at my advanced age. But I use it. I use this computer of mine. I use this telephone of mine all the time. And I've become quite dependent on it. And it allows me to do so much more than I would have been able to do otherwise. I'm extracting information all the time from the iPad or from the tablet that I use. So in a way, I'm advantaged in having access to this technology, and it has to be of great concern to me that millions of South Africans don't have that advantage. And that becomes part of our challenge. I must say, Dr. Sibisi, you can rightfully and justifiably be proud of the work of the Meraka Institute. That's why I bashed them this morning. They were just being too modest, but I know Ms Kane, that's not one of her weaknesses. She's not modest. She flaunts it. And she should, because there's a lot. So Meraka is truly growing recognition. Actually, it's been a remarkable growth from when it was first established to where it is today, and the recognition, and that's the way it is, means that there's kind of exponential growth, because there are new demands placed on Meraka as roles are identified for Meraka based on its strengths and its proven ability and its demonstrated performance. And so that's when Meraka gets involved in one of our biggest government programs, and that is in support of infrastructure, the Presidential Infrastructure Coordinating Committee and the various strategic integrated projects, and Meraka is involved in a couple of those projects. In particular, and I'm going to get back to it, I think the school connectivity challenge is a big one, but I will get back to that in a moment. But I think all of these things that Meraka is doing, each one on its own, is immensely exciting and has lots of potential. Whether it's the work done in Kofimbaba, whether it's the work on fire, whether it's the work on the smart world, whether it's digital doorways, or whether it's the wireless mesh network, ICT for health, ICT for education, and out-computing in order to out-compete. These are really exciting areas. But what I really do like is this. Just simply enhancing quality of life and economic competitiveness in South Africa through ICTs. And that says it all, if you like. And that's what we need to build on. Here we are, Sarah. Meraka, what comes to mind when we think about Meraka? And I just thought of words, and I thought, mega, magnificent, marvelous work done by Meraka. Can you just mega? You got it? You captured that? Did you capture that? I'll tweet that later on. The question that the CEO of the CSIR asked, shouldn't CSIR be growing? The answer is, as far as I'm concerned, yes. Strategically, focused, and as your components grow, the components doing such fantastic work, you grow. So in the sense that Meraka is making a real difference in addressing some of our challenges, and helps us address the challenges in a variety of ways, whether it's through SANRIN, whether it's through the HPC, helps us very significantly address some of these challenges, not only related to research and development, but actual information for decision making, whether it's on fires or whether it's on what's happening to our planet Earth through the GEO and the system of systems. It's making a real difference. So as these components of the CSIR are doing work that really impact and really make a difference, so CSIR should be growing. Obviously, in the months to come, we'll be looking carefully at the entirety of the CSIR. As Martin, we're looking at the whole landscape. Landscape in the National System of Innovation consists of these different component parts, as in different entities, universities, etc. If the parts of the landscape are not performing maximally, then you can craft the landscape as much as you like. But if the links of the chain are not strong, it doesn't matter how great your chain looks. One link makes it a weak chain. So we want every single link of that landscape to be performing optimally and performing well and producing really good work, including the CSIR. So part of it is the more intense scrutiny and investigation of the work done in each of the entities, including the CSIR. So clearly the CSIR, we believe anyway, given, and all evidence speaks to that the CSIR is making a huge impact and must grow. But grow strategically, grow in these areas where it really can make a magnificent difference. Back to Meraka. I mean, when in one of the presentations we hear, yes, 2012, 17% internet penetration, we should be worried. That's far, far too low. And so it's not something, SBU, that just has to grow incrementally, etc. It has to grow in leaps and bounds, and we have to treat this as one of our huge, huge challenges, because it's just not good enough. So then I said I would get back to the school connectivity component, including the introduction of devices, but introduction of devices to schools that are not connected, it's just not going to work. So seeing it as a package. I wonder, Imran, where are you? Now I'm talking to you, not to, the media of the world. We've got an incredible flagship program that we are so proud of, and that is the SKA. We all know it is in terms of budget allocation. It's the biggest single project of the Department of Science and Technology, and it's a big one. It's the biggest. It's at the moment. I know the people that are sitting, and working at CERN might contest this, but it would compete with CERN as one of the biggest science projects that the world has. Not just astronomy project, but one of the biggest science projects. As far as radio astronomy is concerned, the SKA, taking it from Meraka to the SKA, is by an order of magnitude the biggest radio astronomy project the world has ever seen. Hugely so. And so it's a big flagship project, but we can't just say this is our flagship project. We've got to look at other things that become flagship projects. And why do they become flagship projects? And I'm going to turn to what we often say, Imran, is that we want science and technology to make a real difference. A difference in our country in terms of helping us achieve this economic competitiveness and economic growth and enhancing quality of life. Now, what would we say is one of the biggest challenges we are facing currently as a country? Well, almost everyone says education. And if we have to rise to that. We are not the responsible department for basic education, but we do science and technology. We have to bite the bullet here and say, let us use science and technology in every way we can to get better educational results. Let us take this school connectivity project and make it a flagship one. Let's think about it. And let's set ourselves targets. So we don't just say, well, we dished out a few tablets, Yes, the way you've done it, Meryl, I think is really the correct way. Is systematic, is carefully, so that we don't just dish out tablets. And then, for them to just not be used properly, or to discover problems later. We will discover problems. That's why we're doing it as a pilot. That's why I describe it as a pilot. But a pilot doesn't mean that you do things recklessly. You do things thoughtfully, even in a pilot, so that you're able to learn lessons from it. But the intention must be to go far beyond pilot stage, and to do it as quickly as possible. Not quicker than possible, but as quickly as possible. And we will do it as quickly as possible and expand it if we see its value, if we see the need, if we recognize that education is one of our country's highest priorities, if not the highest priority, if we recognize that the disadvantage faced in rural communities in particular, and we saw the slide about the numbers of schools in rural areas that are not connected, it's a massive challenge. We have to rise to that challenge and be a key partner to the Department of Basic Education to address that challenge, and we can be. So I do believe that this has to be considered as one of our flagship projects, not because we like it, but because it's so necessary. And let me then end on that note and just say, Meraka, well done. Where I was right in the beginning, I'm inspired anew. Thank you very much.